I'm very excited to be here and welcome. And I'm so happy to have you here. And as Nicola pointed out, this is a joint effort. We're going to do this together because I've been working in the field, as Nicola pointed out, for a long time. And I will talk for 30 seconds about myself. But you guys have amazing expertise and experience in your own field. And your input will be incredibly important to push this forward, because the whole field on digital coaching is an important topic for our industry, and very important also to involve EMCC and basically define the future of this industry. So yes, I'm Florian Brody. I'm originally from Vienna. So I started off in Europe, and I learned decent British English, which I all lost because I've been living in Silicon Valley for over 20 years, where I co-founded several companies, and I've been working as an executive coach for the last 7 years. My background is extensively in digital media and multimedia, where film and publishing come together with computers. So when I got into coaching, then the integration of technology and coaching was an obvious topic for me. So I prepared a few slides, and I think afterwards we're going to have breakout rooms and with topics that I can propose, but you can also choose. And then I'd love to get your input. And then we can have a discussion, and we can look at more stuff and decide how we want to use the time to really define what helps all of us most. So welcome. And thanks again, Nicola, for having me. So, digital coaching. What is digital coaching? Digital coaching is everything but digital, because the coaching itself is not digital. We use platforms. And people will tell you, oh, with digital coaching, we can include everything but the kitchen sink. No, we don't. We focus on what we do. Yeah. And this is a very important first step. Yeah? So at the moment, it's like this horseless-carriages. We took coaching the way we know it and says, okay, we do it now over Zoom. Yeah? So our task is to take coaching and continue to develop it, that it becomes true coaching over a digital platform. And I found this, and this is amazing. Somebody came up with an invention to put a wooden horse in front of an automobile so that the other horses don't get scared. You know? And I think that's where we are at the moment. Yeah, we try to tweak the ethics of coaching so they somehow fit. You know? So what is digital coaching? Yeah. Number one, as we said, it's not digital. Yes, we know that. It's remote. It limits the bandwidth, not so much the technology bandwidth, also an issue, but it limits the bandwidth of human communication in the rapport and in the connection to our clients or to our coach. And it changes the coaching space where we are. Yeah? In coaching, we all very often talk about holding the space and providing a secure environment for our client, and that changes. Yeah? Of course, it expands the reach and availability, and above all, it introduces a new medium. And I had 3 different companies in one way or other called New Media Consulting in Europe and in the US. And I very often got asked, what's new medium? Now, at the time, in the 1980s, new medium was integrating a computer with audio, integrating a computer with video, with laser discs and videotapes and interactive training. And all this stuff was very new, and nobody knew how it worked. When I had my first CD-ROM drive in '84, people told me 650 megabytes, it's way too big. Nobody needs that. So we know where we are now. So our goal is to take digital coaching and turn it from a new medium into a medium that is no longer new. As you know, this is a technical model developed by Shannon and Weaver in 1948, how communication works. There's a source, There's a destination. In between is a transmitter and receiver and some noise. Yeah? This is how you talk on a telephone, and then crackle, crackle. Yeah? But the noise is also any other disturbance. This can be that you as the coach get distracted. That can be that your client sits in an office and there is noise around. And we all had that when we coach online. There is the client where the kids suddenly run in. And what do we do with that? Yeah. Yeah. Do we say, sorry, I'm waiting until you're focused again? Or do we welcome the kid and says, hello, so I'm working with your mom. We talk together. And yeah, hello. Okay, now you leave again. Yeah. What do we do with it? Yeah. So we use, and I'm going fast because I want to make sure that we have time to talk. But any of those topics you want to revisit, we can always bring it back. And again, this is not like a lecture. This is some thoughts that we can use in our discussion. Well, you know all these systems. Yeah, this is just a few. Yeah, and there's not this discussion, which one is better, or also a question about how safe are they? Yeah, are they end-to-end encoded? Yeah, do we have passwords and waiting rooms and Zoom bombing where people come in? And I'm less worried about that. Yeah? Because let's face it, yeah, if your organization is big enough and you guys are smart enough, can they break into? Yes, they can break into everything. Yeah. But you're not too concerned about not coaching next to a window because somebody across the street could, with specialized spy equipment, register the vibrations of the window pane. Unlikely. Yeah. I don't know whether you check your room every day for bugs. Yeah. But that's less of the issue. The security is somewhere else. So I think the systems are reasonably safe, yeah, and appropriate. Yeah? But they are proprietary systems. Some coaching platforms build their own systems. Some people are very worried about the data being in the US, and they use European systems. I'm more concerned when my clients use a client, a Zoom client, Microsoft Teams, Google, that is in a corporate network, because in a corporate network, there is no expectation of privacy. As you know, when you use your corporate email address, in theory, everybody can read it, even if they don't. That's a bigger concern than somebody breaks into your Zoom feed. Yeah? And then, of course, it's the video call security in my room and in their room. So I do not own any of those Alexa thingies because I don't need machines listen to me all the time. But that's a concern. And that has been discussed in ethics, that you have to make sure that when you coach, you're in a room that you're reasonably private. Yeah? The bigger issue is with my coaching clients, yeah, who sit in a cubicle, who don't even think about that. Yeah? Who ask me whether, and I tell them, because I'm EMCC and ICF credentialed, that of course we have a very strict code of ethics. But that whole code of ethics doesn't help me if they don't even close the door in their office. And so corporate networks, we talk about there. So how do they set up their room? And to emphasize this is, I think, very important. Yeah. And then it's very limiting. Let's face it. Yeah. We sit here. I see you. The majority of you have the camera on. You see me. What does it look like? It looks like TV evening news 1960. Yeah? There is somebody sitting there reading something. Yeah? And that's limiting. Now, of course, there are quality limitations, and I'm inviting you to have the right equipment. I have 2 slides about that quickly, and please feel free to reach out to me. This is not the topic of today, but I'm happy to help. There's the bandwidth. You need to have decent internet. And of course, you can go beyond that. Yeah. For instance, what I have is I have a desk that moves up and down. So very often I coach standing. for the lack of a better thing, because it gives you more freedom to move. There's more body experience. Sometimes I ask my clients to get up and stand back so I can see them. Because you may end up working with somebody for 6 months and you never saw them more than up to here. When you have somebody coming to your office, to your room, or you meet them at their company, the first thing you see is how they walk in. You record that, yeah. You see what they bring. You see how they behave, how they interact. You set up the room in a certain way. Yeah. Some people like a sofa. Some people sit across each other. Some have a table. When I coach in person, I have 2 straight chairs with nothing in between. Because for me, the non-verbal interaction is extremely important. So we have to somehow take care of that. And we could do multiple cameras, but we don't have a solution for that yet. So I don't know really. And it's not that I have a solution for everything. Yeah. So we can extend it. Yeah. As I said, multiple cameras. We can show videos. We can have collaboration tools. Some of you may use whiteboards or Miro boards. And above all, have some decent equipment. Yeah. I mean, you can't see this because this is one of the limitations. This is the setup that I'm using. Yeah. So that's why I look away sometimes, because I have a second screen over there where I'm running the slideshow that you guys are seeing. And there's a camera, and the camera is not above. The camera is right in front of the screen, which means when I look at you, then you feel that I look at you and I don't look away. Because if I look at the camera up there or the camera down there, then there's less of a contact. No? And I have a decent microphone. So the whole thing, yeah. And I have some light, which I don't need now, because at this time of the day, the sun is outside. I'm in San Francisco, different time zone. Yeah. But I have a light, I have a decent microphone, I have a decent camera. Everything together, it's less than 1 coaching hour. It's not, yes, of course, there is no limit. Yeah. You can easily spend $600 on the microphone, $400 in the lights, and you can go totally gaga. Yeah. Unnecessary. So is it digital? Most important, act as a coach. Embody your being a coach. Connect to them, listen to them. And that's not as easy as it sounds. Because although we're trained as coaches, yeah, for deep listening and pay attention to our client, it's sometimes difficult when you have a little picture. Yeah? And although the space is split between you and the other person, and sometimes in a very strange way, specifically when they decide to have moving palm trees behind them, yeah, as a little animation. But try to hold the space and consider the intimacy that you create. Because at the same time as you are very distant, you're also very close. Because I'm looking at you, and in a certain way, your faces are much closer than we would probably sit when we're together in a room. So this is interesting things to consider. Yeah? So make sure that you focus on presence. Yeah? It's okay to start with a moment of silence. People run in, I'm so happy to see you. Okay, great. Let's start with the coaching. Yeah? And I said, okay, let's settle in. Yeah, let's take a deep breath. Because when they come to your office, you have a chair for them. It says, hello, welcome. Maybe you have a desk with some Kleenex. You never know when you need Kleenex. And you may say, hey, would you like a glass of water? Give you a glass of water, yeah? You don't do that online. You say, okay, hello, click, yeah? And you don't have your water, yeah? Provide comfort. They maybe feel, okay, take your time, it's okay. Yeah. When you meet in person, even if you meet you usually meet for an hour. You don't meet for half an hour. Yeah. Online coaching is very often half an hour. So you want to use every single minute. It's the same thing on telephone. Yeah. It has changed. I grew up at a time when you paid by the minute. And you wanted to be short. And if you talk to one generation before, yeah, they would have told you, no, telephone is to communicate something. This is not for chit-chat. Today, it's a non-issue. You turn on the thingy and you just run it, it costs nothing. Yeah? Consider not only the voice and the mind, consider the body, consider the heart. So pay attention how they are. Try not to distract. It's very tempting to read something else where they go on and on and on and on. Yeah? And I usually take notes on a piece of paper because I think it's extremely distracting. Unless you have an iPad and you write. But that's me. Yeah? Plan. Give yourself time before and after. It's extremely tempting to block your morning. 9, 10, 11. Yeah. I try to have 50 minutes between every session. Some platforms offer that actually. If you use Google Calendar, you can set it that automatically when somebody books an hour, it's only 50 minutes. And invite your client to do the same. And I'm sure when you coach digitally, you have clients who come in at 11:02 and says, great to see you. I just came out of the other meeting. I'm sorry I'm running late. Well, you're not 2 minutes late. You're actually 17 minutes late. Because I'm inviting you to start the thinking about coaching 50 minutes before we start and consider 50 minutes after. So if we have a half-hour coaching session, try to spend an hour. It's for you. And the other thing is, because it's online and because they don't have to go anywhere except to the computer and click once, twice, sessions get much easier canceled. If I have an appointment with you and I'm taking the car or the tram or however I get to you, and it takes me half an hour, then I slowly settle in into, okay, I'm going to meet with you now. And I'm not going to cancel that because this is, unless I have to. Sometimes you have to. But canceling this is so much easier. And very often I've found, and this is subconscious valuing. Yeah. Oh, it's just an online call. Yeah. Just a phone call away. And again, this, I very often draw from history. Yeah. Look at old advertisements by a telephone company, how they promote it. It's so easy to get on, and if you can't do it, you just hang up. Yeah. So this is something to invite them to prepare. Get ready, get yourself some water. Oh, I don't have any water. It's okay. Yeah. I usually schedule my time that if we can't start right away, then I go 5 minutes over. And I always tell my clients, I'm offering you my expertise, my know-how. Yes, it's my time. Yes, but I don't get paid by time. I get paid for my expertise. This is so important, more important digitally than in direct coaching, because that's what we do. We are coaches. So ethics is an important topic. And I found that this is the one topic where EMCC started to seriously consider, and they even built a task force around that last year. I don't know what happened to it, but we'll find out. So digital coaching platforms require I'm looking at the chat here at the moment. You see, this is distraction. Yeah, it requires different ethics. Yeah, because you have direct clients. That's one situation. You work with your clients, yeah. But then the code of ethics, yeah, from EMCC, from ICF, does not include specific situations. They're working on it. And then there are international relationships. So you may work with somebody who sits on the other end of the world, and not necessarily somebody who says, yes, I'm of a different culture. I'm European, but I live now in Silicon Valley. You know, if you're European, you live in Silicon Valley, or you're Austrian, and you go to England, things are different. And you adjust, and you adapt. But when you sit at home and you work with a coach, or as a coach, you work with a client around the world, yeah, then you have to seriously consider that there are cultural differences. There are different time zones. Yeah? For me, it's 11:55. It's almost lunchtime. For you, it's evening, depending where you are. And if you are in England, you're 7 hours away. In Austria, or 8 hours. In Athens, 9 hours. In India, 12 hours. Yeah, different setting, different environments, different expectations. Okay, digital coaching. So you work with your coachee direct. You find somebody who reaches out to you over your website, or however they do it. You make an agreement. We're gonna meet on Zoom every week, every 2 weeks. Fine. Yeah, but then the client may be a company, HR department, that says, which is much easier for them. This is, of course, a standard situation. You also have in the old days when you would come to the company and you would coach a team. Yeah. So there's, of course, already different relationships. And you know about the challenges, yeah, when the person who pays you is not the person who gets coached. That's often challenging. Yeah. But now we have a new situation. We have another player. And that, of course, is a different contract situation, because the digital coaching platform hires you, and the digital coaching platform gets hired by the HR department. Who is accountable to whom? Who is responsible to whom? What do you report? And how about confidentiality, which is even more difficult? It's bad enough when you coach somebody at a company and the company pays for it. Yeah? But the digital coaching platforms, they pride themselves towards HR. Oh, we have this dashboard and we keep track, and you can report back to executives the success of coaching. You can justify the investment. You as a coach, of course, want to keep confidentiality. And you tell your coaching client, under the code of ethics, everything we discuss is confidential. So this creates completely new situations. Sometimes audio only works better. I had clients who said, okay, let's turn off the video. Sometimes clients would like to go on a walk. Then I usually invite them to turn off the video, because otherwise they get seasick. As mentioned that earlier, sometimes you invite my clients to get up. And to experience their setting is important. Now, especially Zoom gets better and better, so we can have virtual backgrounds. But sometimes just to see how people live and where they are, it's so valuable, because it tells you a lot about them and offer different perspectives. And sometimes, at the moment I have this blur, but sometimes I just turn it off so you can see where I am. And people ask me, so is this virtual? I said, no, it's my office. And I'm sure you create, when you coach in person, you create the room where you coach accordingly. What about VR? The first thing Nicola asked me, are you going to talk about VR? I said, yes, we talk about VR. Yeah. So I got involved in virtual reality in 1991, because I was very interested in virtual reality from a media point of view and a conceptual point of view. Now, I don't have to say anything about this slide. It's obvious, yeah? Will this be a topic? Yes, it will be a topic, especially when you work as a coach in situations where the body is involved, where action is involved, where you build experiential environments, yes. Yeah? But you do not want to coach that guy in that blue t-shirt, yeah, with a beard as a young lady. That would serious problems with identity. Yeah. So yeah, I've been doing VR in the 90s, and then it died, and now it comes back. Yeah. It will take time. Will it be possible? Yes, it will be. Eventually, it will be possible. But it has some way to go, in my opinion. And avatars is not a good idea. Because what would you say if you turn on Zoom, or you invite your client to come to your office, and you open the door, and outside stands somebody you know. She's a young lady, but she has a rubber mask from an old guy over her head. Today, I'm an old guy. Let's coaching. You say, please, can you take this off? This is just doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. No, she said, it's really important for me today. Then okay. So why is this important for you? Yeah. What does it mean not to be yourself? We can coach on that when we know it. And then, of course, there are the AI coaches, and Coach Hub has tried one, and I tried it, and it's much prettier, and it talks with a slightly robotic female voice. And that's 2023, but it hasn't changed a lot since 1966, when Joe Weizenbaum developed ELIZA, which was a Rogerian psychotherapist. Now, he developed this as a mock-up. He developed this to show that it cannot be done. Joseph Weizenbaum was a professor at the MIT. He was one of the first people who really pushed artificial intelligence, computer-based translation, everything. And then he turned around, and he published this seminal book where he showed that the whole thing it's not going to work. Computer Power and Human Reason. And I met Joe Weizenbaum at a conference in 1974, and he said to me, the world is crazy. He said, you know, and I still remember that to the day. He said, you know, my father in the old days would say, oh, it's written in the holy books. Today we say, the computer said. I'll never forget that. So he built this to show that it's not possible. What happened? The American Psychological Association said, yes, that's the new tool. We're going to use this from now on. And they tried. And, well, the rest is history. So let's see, please, go to Coach Hub, try it yourself. It's free. It's an interesting experience. So there is artificial intelligence. There is large language models, which we know as ChatGPT, robots, avatars, the whole thing. Yeah. Is it useful at the moment? Yeah, it can be useful. It can be an assistant coach. Yeah. Maybe it's your umpire. Yeah. It can provide support. If you have somebody you are inviting to journal every day, and the person and the system, yeah, invites the person every day, hello, so it's time for journaling, yeah, and let's sit down. Do you have any questions? Yeah, I don't know what to journal about. Well, let's see. Yeah, they can do that. Yeah, is it coaching? I don't know, but it can be very helpful. Depends what you make out of it. So thank you very much for following me through this part. And I would say, Nicola, we can, unless there are immediate questions, we could jump into the breakout room.
I've got a quick question, actually, Florian, myself.
Please.
You know, when you flashed up the slide of ELIZA and the slide of you and Coach Hub, I'm assuming that somebody was behind that ELIZA one tapping in. Is
Oh, no.
That right?
No, there was completely computer-based.
Okay.
And the system knew 100 words.
Oh.
And it worked. It worked so well that Weizenbaum's secretary, when he said, okay, let's look at the protocol. Let's see how it works. Oh, you can't do this. This is confidential between the person and the machine. It is so convincing.
That's incredible.
Because if you read, it's something troubling you. Yeah, men are all alike. Yeah. So what's the connection? Why is this important for you? They're always bugging. And then it has like the words depressed and mother, and because when you do this, you can always say, so why is this important for you? Or how does it relate to your mother? Everything somehow relates to your mother.
I think my mum would like that.
Yeah. So is he put in, well, my boyfriend made me come here. Well, the whole thing you need to do. Is it important that to you that your boyfriend made you come here? People think, oh my God, Eliza really relates to me. I mean, she really cares.
Fascinating.
It's very, very interesting. That's why I put this there, because it's just, yeah. He says, I'm depressed. If you know that depressed is something bad, then you add the word sorry. If she writes, I'm happy, then you would say, I'm sorry that you're happy. If you can catch that stuff, then you build your system.
It sounds
very interesting. This is why I put this there. Yeah. Look, the other one, Amy, I think she's called by Coach Hub, is way more advanced. Absolutely, yeah. Please, this is many, many years ago, yeah. But it has audio, it has sound, it has images, everything. But it's still extremely. I really put this there to think about it.
It's fascinating. I've been wondering actually of the people that are here. If you just put like a hand up or a thumb up or something, if you've used it yourself, the Coach Hub automatic coach. Oh,
anybody used it? Anybody tried the Coach Hub thingy?
I can see Sue with a thumb up. Sue Gravel's got a thumb up.
Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't Coach Hub actually, but I tried Chat GPT, and it blew my mind at the time. I needed a drink. It's all about
Chat GPT is amazing, yeah. But and you can do it's good for amazing stuff, yeah. If they ask you, can you please write an article about coaching for technology executives, it will give you stuff. Just print it word for word. I put in, please write a bio for Florian Brody, and it wrote a bio.
So really?
It also said that I created a book in 1993 that was with a title that I A, didn't create, and B, it was written in 2003. So it just invents stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing to be careful of, isn't it? I was speaking to somebody earlier on who had a similar kind of story, actually, that there was an article written about somebody that they knew, and actually they'd been accused of something a bit criminal, which was wrong, which was not the case. But
yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's, it's like, it's inspiration. Really try ChatGPT. Yeah, I mean, you can literally put in, yeah, I have bananas, broccoli, and some leftover chicken. What should I cook? And it will give you an idea. I mean, add it with, as they say, with a grain of salt. Yeah, pardon the pun. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's. What does it do? Yeah, it pulls from this incredible knowledge that it has behind it, but only from that, and from nothing else. Definitely try ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah, Andrew's come in on the chat. Says ChatGPT is.
Oh yeah, it's 3 months live. Absolutely. Oh, that is another point. That has an immense, incredible impact. It's a big problem. I can't find it at the moment. I looked for it yesterday night. There was an article in the New York Times yesterday, about the fact that because of the development of ChatGPT, it's a big danger to smaller languages, because it works with a large language body. And the language body in English, French, Russian, Arabic, German is way better than in Hopi or in Manx. Manx doesn't exist anymore, but even Welsh. Yeah, and which means there's a big risk for those languages because it works better. It's the quantity issue. Yeah, So there are, I totally agree with you, Andrew. There are significant challenges that we are not aware of what's going to happen. And I always get asked, because I teach college, how can you find out what if all your students write their papers with ChatGPT? Well, you know what? You take the paper, put it into ChatGPT and says, was this written by ChatGPT? And ChatGPT said, yes, it was written by me.
I think it will get more sophisticated, though. I was looking at something the other day that had been written by a chat GPT-ish thing. It wasn't actually chat GPT, but it was certainly machine generated, and put it through a human writing detector, and it said, yep, this is human. It isn't.
You don't have to go that far. There was I can't find it at the moment. There's a wonderful software out there written by some students. Nicola, we put your name and my name in, and out comes 20 seconds later a research paper with our two names on it about something completely absurd that doesn't exist and is complete nonsense. Perhaps
you and I can have a bit of a play in the breakout room while everybody else is having a chat in theirs.
And what's the next? We can try this, yes. These people submitted it to a peer-reviewed research conference, very reputable conference. The peer-reviewed. What do you think happened? It got accepted. There was no ChatGPT. It was just complete gibberish. It was worse than Jabberwocky.
Did you see the image that had won a photographic competition? Yeah, I can see Andrew nodding. Yeah, it won a photographic competition saying, yeah, this picture is amazing. And it was well, the picture can be amazing even if it's not real, but a research paper that has absolutely no meaning. But the picture maybe at least be pretty or nice, maybe not be a real photograph, but a research paper that it's just graphs and stuff and it looks impressive, yeah. If you're not in the field of I don't know, linear algebra, and somebody shows you a mathematical proof, and there's lots of formulas, what do you say? Well, you say, well, looks impressive. I hope it's right. I have no idea what it's talking about. Yeah? So, but experts should know. Yeah? Anyway, what are we doing now? Shall we do breakout rooms? Yes, let's go to breakout rooms. What I proposed, breakout rooms, I thought ethical questions, technology questions, legal questions come up, but what I would suggest, get into breakout rooms, find a topic, and if at all possible, bring something back to the group. So what we're going to do, just for the first minute of you coming back in, is we're going to be really quiet, just so that you've got about 30 seconds or so to just record in the chat some of the things which occurred to you while you're in your breakout rooms. What's occurred to you, what's on your mind, what kind of discussion did you have, and then we'll open up the mics, but I'll be quiet for 30 seconds or so, because otherwise you won't be able to type. You'll be listening to me. Cool. Okay, so thanks for typing. I've got some messages coming in now. Is it, correct me if I've got the pronunciation wrong, but is it Ale? Ale? So
yes. Yes.
Oh, did I get it right? Fantastic. So I had a nice conversation on the benefits of digital coaching and the benefits also, Britta, have Have I got that right as well? So overall, the breakout room had a positive experience as well as of remote coaching as well. Michael was talking about coaching cross-culturally. What's different? What's the same? And Ivan, remote coaching works without problems for all of us, just minor issues. Must admit, I've only ever coached remotely. I've never coached face-to-face. Pearl says, talked about the question each of us might have on mind after a brief intro. And Ina says, Suzanne, Stephen and I talked about boundaries and containing the virtual space when multiple screens. Oh, yes, there's notifications, distractions seem to be a challenge for some clients. Contracting. And Suzanne also said, brilliant chat about boundaries and contracting as well, and the distractions. Yeah, everyone's pinging up all the time, aren't they, and switching it off. Yeah, Mark says, the universe accepted that coaching online is an important mix. Bridge says, my practice is 100% virtual as well. What stands out there for you, Florian?
Well, I love the comment that you didn't focus on the limitations, you focused on the opportunities. And I think this is so important. Yes, it's a unique opportunity. I coach almost exclusively at the moment, not the least because of COVID online. I think it's a unique opportunity to coach because you can work with people you could never reach otherwise. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and whenever I work with technology, I think I look at the benefits first. Yeah? And yes, we are aware that, I mean, I mentioned those. I mentioned the ethics questions. I meant the confidentiality question, all these things. Yeah. But, and they need to be addressed. Yeah. But overall, yeah, we have opportunities. I mean, look, there is the danger of the telephone. We had that. Yeah. Well, in the breakout room, yeah, we spoke about the fact that people thought trains are really dangerous because if trains go more than 30 miles an hour, then all the air will be sucked out and everybody will die from suffocation. Hasn't happened yet. Yeah. And no, we don't have somebody with a red flag running in front of the train to tell everybody the train is coming. Yeah. And it goes on and on and on. Yes, and there is the danger of ChatGPT and AI, and the danger is most likely somewhere completely different than we think. Yeah, we briefly touched, and thank you for sending all this, the topic about the danger of the problem with books and language. Yes, they will come from the real issues will come from a different corner. Yeah. When people talked about the danger of automobiles, they did not think about the issues we have today with exhaust fumes. They had different issues. Yeah? I mean, even when I grew up, yeah, I mean, seatbelts were not a topic. Yeah, you would sit on in the front seat on your parents' lap, and everybody was happy. Yeah, maybe even holding the steering wheel. Yeah, your father would be driving, you were sitting in his lap, and yeah, yes.
Oh, I'm being,
yeah, and still alive. Yeah, yeah.
I'm being perched upon a cushion and the handbrake between the seats.
Yeah, yeah. But so, but there are amazing benefits. Yeah, what you mentioned about there's a mention about all the distractions. Yeah, that's important. Yeah. I worked with a coaching platform. They try to push that everybody does it on their cell phone. Yeah. And that has benefits. But overall, I think it's very important to offer people an immersive experience. Now, as you do that, yeah, when I come to your office and you have this little room, and the room is a little table and a lamp and 2 chairs, and we sit down, yeah, then we're in the same space. But I have to remind myself very often when I sit here, and you saw the picture, how my setup is, yeah? I have 2 27-inch screens. Not everybody has that. I turn everything off. When I work with you, your image is full screen. I make mine a tiny little one or put it all away. Not everybody has that. People may be crammed into a little laptop that sits down there and they look down. You know? And I showed you technology that you can get, and I'm happy to help if that's of interest to you, yeah? But just taking the laptop and moving it up so you can look like this is a benefit, yeah?
Mm.
Honestly, sometimes it's annoying the fact that I have the camera right in front of you, yeah? And then I have to look who's behind the camera, yeah? Because it's right in front of the screen. Because we don't have screens yet that have the camera built in. They're working on that. But I think it's more important that I can look you in the eyes. And I can see you. And I can feel you. That's important for me.
Nicola, it's Tommy Chan here. Can I ask a question?
Hi, Tommy.
As many as you want, please. Go ahead.
Yes, Florian, I really love your concept about AI and technology and so on is coach as possibly be the assistant coach. In our small group discussion, I raised the topic. I think the issue here that we are addressing is the coaching experience for the coachee. And that is, given a choice, would coaches now prefer a human being with flesh and blood versus a machine, right? Because as we know, obviously the AI technology will catch up, it is catching up to develop the algorithm in such a way that will offer good feedback or even empathic statements and so on and so forth. But the coachee knows that they are talking to a machine. So are we as a human race ready to talk to a machine? I think that is a fundamental question. Until that's clarified, I think AI technology can do all they want. It's not going to achieve that result. What do you think? I'd love to hear your opinion.
I was thinking of bringing to bring that quote, and nobody reads. I mean, the piece in German literature is Dr. Faustus by Goethe, which is not read in English, of course, because you have Shakespeare. Why should you care? Yeah, and there is one passage where it says, usually, when a human hears words, he immediately perceives there must be something to think about. Gewöhnlich, wenn der Mensch nur Worte hört, glaubt auch, es müsse sich dabei etwas denken lassen. That you can think about something just because you hear words. Yeah. And you will find when you go on the street and you hear people speaking and you think, do I understand? Oh, it's a language I don't understand. But you can even recognize they're fighting or they like each other. Yeah? Very hard when you don't speak Chinese or Vietnamese or Japanese because it's so different. Yeah? But we hear the machine talk. We looked at the ELIZA. It says, why is this important for you? Yeah? Yeah? How is your mother related to that? I mean, the machine has no idea what the mother is. Yeah? But yeah, you think, oh my God, the thingy is really, yeah, okay, it loves me. Yeah? Yeah? Why does it ask about my mother? It has no meaning. Yeah. So that's why I said I could imagine that the machine helps with repetitive tasks. Let me give another example, Tommy. Music teaching. They're experimenting using automatic teaching that you learn playing an instrument. I believe it's very important to have a human, but most people cannot afford a teacher at home, like in the old days when your parents were aristocracy and you had a home teacher, yeah. But nobody sits with you when you practice the violin, yeah. You learn all the wrong stuff. But if you have a machine, if you have an iPad that says yeah, that is not your teacher, but at least it's there every day. So that's why I said having some. Let's not call it a coach. Let's call it a little tool, because if you tell your client, I'm sure you're familiar with the Pomodoro method, where you use a little alarm. Yeah, okay. The alarm is not a coach. Yeah, no, it's an alarm. It's a kitchen timer. Yeah, but it can help you. Yeah, so these things can be done. It's not a coach. Yeah, it may just call it an umpire. Somebody looks at you play inside of the lines. Yeah. But I think that's important. And I totally agree with you. So far, the machines can do it. Will they be able to do it? Please. This has been a topic for the last, I don't know, 2,000 years, 5,000 years? Can we create human life? I mean, it's always whether you read the Golem or or Frankenstein, or it's always the same, Metropolis. It's always this idea, I mean, look, totally off topic, Tommy, I don't know whether you track the whole thing about artificial lovers and all those dolls, I mean, it's not a topic for this discussion, but it's
sex doll as well, by the way.
I beg your pardon?
Sex doll as well.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I see Alfonso and Andrew in a hand. I think Alfonso was in first. Go, Alfonso.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, thanks for the the mention you did about Nosferatu or Frankenstein, because I realized that I clearly need another extra light, Excuse me for being in the dark. And okay. Anyway, you mentioned something that has made me think, which is the fact that you have a wonderful 2 screens of 27 inches each, and you can manage your own environment. But what about the client? Because the client normally has a small laptop, has to do a break in the middle of of something else that he's doing in the office. And this is one factor. I mean, probably you can control your atmosphere, your environment, but you can control the client. And this can make a huge difference. And yes. Not only this, but now I think we are in a situation in which we can say we are over-zoomed. We have Zooms all over the place, all over the agenda, several every morning, several every afternoon. And it really, creates a worse experience that probably could be. I mean, with some positives in the basket. And something else that really worries me, which is the fact that at the moment machines are probably doing something that I would consider quite a poor job. I understand that they will get better and better, and I hope. But anyway, I mean, if we consider that coaching has to do with a confluence of body, language, and emotion, I think at least the face-to-face idea has to be different as an experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I 100% agree. We can, for the lack of a better way, we can invite our client to find a quiet room, to not start being a coaching client, or to get into the mode, or call it whatever you want, 15 minutes before we start, and not, say, I just came out of the meeting with the CEO, and sometimes I say, look, I know the platform has this policy, if you're not there in time, you lose the time. I'm giving you the time, I don't have anything right after it. Take 15 minutes, go outside, breathe, get a glass of water, go to the bathroom, come back, because if the person, I totally agree with you, Alfonso, if the person comes to you to your office, it takes them 20 minutes, walk or tram or something, and they get ready. And then you say, welcome, please sit down. Would you like some water? So there is some lead in, rather than jumping in. And that's the problem with the Zoom. And I could have I have a coaching call after our session. I did not put it right afterwards. And then we're going to stop at the top of the hour. Then we're going to have the networking. Then I have 15 minutes to go outside and breathe. And yes, it is body, heart, and mind. And there will be the point where it says, there you are. And that's the other thing. Now, of course, I was looking at you, Alfonso, and then you suddenly swapped. And I don't know what happened, And it's, I think we will find that suddenly, coaching, real coaching, a lot of different words, it will be in person only.
Michael's put a great link in the chat, actually, to some research in 10 minutes between meetings.
As Zoom fatigue, yes. Did face-to-face meeting? That's an interesting question. sometimes, did you ever have somebody says, no, I don't want to meet you, I just talk on the phone? Yeah, that I'm sure this is, but why do you go to the theater? Yeah, you can go to the movies. Yeah. Why don't I go to the movies? Because the majority of movies have a screen that is vaguely bigger than my TV. And the problem is I'm in America and they always have popcorns and I don't like the smell. But I love to go to the movies. Yeah. Every time I'm in LA, I go to the big movie. They have this huge screen. Yeah. I mean, I spend more time at film festivals than I'm willing to admit. Yeah.
Andrew,
experience. But otherwise, why go? Yeah. Anyway, what do I?
Let's bring Andrew in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please, Andrew.
Hi. Yeah, fascinating conversation. I coach online. I've got coaches around Europe and one in Africa actually. But here's the thing: in digital coaching, how can digital coaching replace some of the tools that I've used in the physical world that I cannot see being replicated digitally? And two that I find have been so impactful: walk and talk, where you're walking with someone in a park or by the river, and there's no technology, there's no distractions, and that's when you get that moment of truth, that real deep human conversation. And secondly, an exercise like the empty chair, which some of you may have heard of, where you ask people to move to a different space in the room and look at themselves. And that can be, I know it's quite a power, you've got to be careful how you use it, but that's been incredibly powerful. I can't see how we can do that online. I just wonder what your thoughts are on that.
Thank you for sharing this. This is extremely important. Yeah. I mean, empty chair is a very powerful way to go. Yeah. Yeah. And even and you can try this, even the interaction. Yeah. You just shared something. Yeah. If you and I meet somewhere, yeah, then you would probably go on longer. Yeah. Yeah. We would talk about this. It's an interesting topic. We would spend the afternoon. We would walk near the river, then eventually we're going to decide we're going to go for coffee or for a pint, and we're going to continue that. Yeah. Versus when we are on Zoom, it's okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm trying this sometimes. Yeah. Where I tell my coaching, it's almost always says, no, let's just go on. Yeah. But you can't, many things you can't do. Yeah? Sometimes I tell them to stand up, yeah, because it's different. You say, okay, stand up, yeah, okay, yeah, because you move differently, yeah. Yeah, it's so important. We have a body, and our body is more than just something that carries around the brain. I have to move the table up if I stand.
Michael's had a good idea in the chat.
Please, who's next?
Oh, there was a hand up, and
was it Ale?
Yes. Is it Ale?
Ali or Ale? I'm sorry, Ali.
There he is. I see him.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but my answer got answered already, so that's why I lowered my hand.
Thank you.
Michael had an idea in the chat actually about having a facsimile of the empty chair if you use the auto tracking capability of Apple or a large Microsoft setup with the tracking cameras, but agrees it's not as good as real. But
I can put a chair here. I can put a chair next to me.
Yeah. I suppose it's the coachee's experience, isn't it? If the coachee gets up and moves to a different chair, then you can still move and have that conversation perhaps. So it's about the coachee's experience rather than the coach's experience.
Yeah, let's try that. I mean, this is the sort of stuff that we could try in reciprocal coaching. I'm a big fan of reciprocal coaching, both for, because everybody needs a coach. Every coach needs a coach. Yeah. I'm always open to that. Yeah. And it's also something we can experiment with.
Krista, your hand's up. Do you want to come in?
Krista, please.
Thank you. So what I was thinking is speed. We are discussing now Zoom. Zoom started in 2020. Now the whole world is using Zoom. now we start with ChatGPT. You saw in such a short period of time, we had 3, 3.5, 4. Now they are talking about auto chat GPT. I mean, this speed is overwhelming. And my feeling is that if we would like to cope with this speed, is either really that we have to stop and think or try to anticipate if it's possible. There, I think coaches will have a big role to help people to cope with this acceleration and changes in jobs, in almost all fields of life. And there, I think there will be a new role for coaches to be imagined. That's how I feel. We have to be one step forward in order to prepare, if it's possible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure you're talking to a lot of people in different generations, but it's amazing when you see 18-year-olds and how their way of using technology is so different from 12-year-olds. Yeah, but I'm not even talking about us. It's amazing. Yeah, and then I mean, ask a 12-year-old to write an address on an envelope. They wouldn't even know where to start.
No, nor use a dial phone either sometimes.
Oh, there are fun movies on the fun YouTube movies about trying to get kids to.
Suzanne, do you want to come in?
Please.
Hello,
Suzanne.
Thanks for the talk. It's really interesting. I'm wondering about contracting, because when I studied coaching, we covered a lot of contracting, but I found there's so many more challenges with people. Even in the last few years, they would do things like check their phone in person, or as someone in my group mentioned, checking notifications that pop up on their watch. But when you've got a screen in front of you and they've got notifications and emails pop up, it just takes away so much from the presence and the connection. So I'm wondering how you contract with people, and also how you bring it up in the session in a way where they don't feel judged, but they still feel accepted, because it seems like an addiction nowadays, this constant checking of things.
Oh, it is. And yeah. Well, one thing is, of course, you know, I'm here with you, of course. I'm not reading my email on the other screen at the moment, yeah. But or watch funny movies, yeah. But that is something when the person comes to your office, yeah, then you say, you know what? Let's both put our phone away, yeah. Or you can even have a little basket outside the door. Yeah. Yeah. And you have a little sign, please take off your shoes. Yeah. Yeah. Lighten your load. Leave your phone here. Yeah. Yeah. Most likely somebody will not sit in your office with their laptop open. I'm sorry, I have to track my email while I talk to you. Yeah. So this is some sort of code, how you behave. Yeah.
There's a museum in London that does that, actually, the John Soames Museum. I don't know if he's been to it. It's a fantastic architectural museum. Suzanne's been. And they encourage you to leave everything and leave your phones there. They'll look after them for you. Leave your bags, leave everything. And then you can walk around. They say no pictures, no anything. Just walk and enjoy the museum.
This is a very interesting topic. I mean, those of you who have kids in school, yeah, you know, this is a big discussion. I am unable to stop my students in class, yeah, from having all their laptops open and looking at other stuff. And I found that, but then I teach college, yeah. If they're not interested, they're not interested. So be it, okay? It's their problem. And I tell them that. I said, look, yeah, yeah. But Is it rude? Yes, it's rude. Yeah, but so it is. Yeah. In coaching, where we work in our profession, you can invite people. Yeah. And they may say, "I'm sorry, I have to watch whether my boss wants something from me." Yeah. When I coach now, and I use a Macintosh, and I'm sure the same thing exists on Windows machines. You can set it that it doesn't ring. You can set your phone. Yeah. You can set your phone that the only person who can ring you is your kid. Yeah. And usually I tell my daughter, text me. And if there's an absolute emergency, sometimes there's an emergency. Yeah. And you have to be, I'm a single dad. Yeah. I just texted my daughter and says, I'm just going to do a 2-hour webinar. So please. Yeah. Yeah. But nobody else can call me. It's all turned off. Yeah. And you can tell them. And some people say, yeah, you can do this. You're a coach, but I'm an employee. I have to follow my boss. Yeah. Something happens. Yeah. Pearl.
I suppose I have a comment. In the older days, when we didn't have all this online thing available, we would shadow, right? We would observe and shadow how people behave in real life, not situation, or a fly on the wall. You go into meetings and you started to kind of observe what's going on and so on. So that leads me to think about how the stakeholders sort of feedback and comments and ideas about your coachee, how much are they being included in the coaching, let alone now that we have a workforce that's hybrid, you have people situated in different countries, different machines, different tools, different ways to communicate and so on. So it becomes obviously much more complicated. However, the whole digital coaching I see so far have not included the stakeholders bit. In other words, how you would have the stakeholder input, because it's about perspective and it's also about perceptions, right? And it's also about people's assumption or understanding of what people should be doing or shouldn't be doing. And then you have the global organization. I don't know how large your organization that you coach in, imagine the enterprises that's just spread around all different countries and so on. So I think the comment is really on when we structure a coaching agreement, the stakeholders' input, how that would need to be kind of for you as a coach to be able to access and receive those stakeholders' input, including perhaps your own family members, depending on what your coachee would like to improve on and so forth. So that I feel so far, the digital coaching is probably not there yet. And that's something I feel is a huge value a coach can include by recruiting these stakeholders that are either closer to the coachee in an office within a company. And so they can be, in a way, the eyes and ears, right? So that you gain some input from what these stakeholders have been observing in terms of the coachee's interactions and so on. So that is the big thing I feel that probably ought to be called out, so that we are not just limiting on the digital coaching one-on-one just with the coachee himself or herself.
Thank you for sharing this. Anybody has a thought about that?
I was just going to add, Ina, here, that I suppose in some engagements, the ability to integrate 360 feedback and things like that exists, doesn't it? That we can start an engagement by debriefing that and hopefully have the stakeholder input in. I know I work directly and I work through a platform, and in the platform, those tools are integrated in so that we can at least have some insight of peers, cross-functional partners, direct reports, their own line managers. So at least you get a sense starting out, and then often at the end of the engagement, there might be a further one to see whether there's been growth
or shifts in terms of the feedback. So that can be useful. And then I think if we're working directly with organizations, we can design in those stakeholders reviews. We can design in those conversations in contracting for the work. I think that's really useful.
Thank you for sharing this. I work with one platform. What they offer, it's not required. When the company sets up the contract, they can add that there are three-way calls with the manager. And I always tell my coachees, the three-way call, this is not like parent-teacher conference where I talk with the manager about them. But this is an opportunity for them to reach out to the manager and discuss topics that are relevant for them, because they always get totally scared. And I said, look, anything that you and I talk about is completely confidential. And I once had a manager say, oh, I understand. Well, I'm so happy that you coach so-and-so. Aren't you also coaching so-and-so who also works for me? And I said, well, maybe I do, and then I wouldn't tell you. And if I don't do it, I wouldn't tell you either. Yeah. And then we all laughed. And the manager realized, that this is a private conversation, but there are topics they wanted to discuss, what's important. Yeah. And it turned out it was extremely helpful for the coachee. Yeah. Because many things that person worried about where we could release by talking to the manager.
Are you acting as a kind of a mediator at that point then? If it's the coachee and their manager, and the coachee feels that they're able to bring things up with their manager?
Or a mediator, or to encourage the conversation. Yeah, because suddenly they talk in a way they never talked to each other before. But it's not about the manager. You know what? I worked with with the person who reports to you now for 3 weeks, and I have to say they really behave badly. And I know that's not the point. Like, it's not like in school, where the teacher tells you what the kid did in school, or you tell the teacher. You have to be stricter with the kid.
Florian and everybody, I've just noticed the time, we're at the top of the hour, and so we need to wrap up the main session. But we do have a half an hour of networking. Florian is here, so we can continue the conversation with him. But I think that the conversation itself has been so wide ranging, and everybody's just been so brilliant inputting into it all as well. I do feel that we've reached that co-creation aim that you had at the beginning as well, Florian. I was just wondering.
Yes, and I'm so thankful for all the input.
I was wondering if I could ask you just a wrap-up question for yourself as well, about what you yourself are taking from the conversation that we've had.
Well, first, I would like to thank everybody, because we would not be able to have this event today without you, and the contributions. I think both specifically the topic that when we always look at these things, the first thing we talk about how horrible it is and how bad it is and the limitations. I think focusing on the opportunities and the positive aspect, what it can give us, is incredibly important, especially for us as coaches. And I think it opens up the chance, also for an organization like EMCC, to become a leader in that field, and to do both, to define standards. That's very important for the platform, especially, but also to support us in each other, to build further. And I'm perfectly open, anybody else, to experiment with things, and say, hey, let's try empty chair. Let's see how it works, Let's try what happens when we walk around, different platforms, when we work with different screens, or, or we tell the client, why don't you turn around? Look away, what happens? I try this when I do meditation classes. There are so many things, and if both parts are coaches, then we can coach each other and talk about how does it feel. It's very interesting. So yes, thank you so much. I think that's what the most valuable is, to see how other people think about the topic. The coaches, thank you so much. And I think we should invite EMCC to really push on the topic.